right, good morning to you all, or good afternoon, depending on your time zone from where you're watching me from. Bro, I want to do a little mathematics right now, and I wish you can help me with your calculator. Is it possible for you to split 4 trillion?
4 trillion.
4 trillion. Can you divide 4 trillion into 200? Call it 200 million persons. 4 trillion divided by 200 persons. I don't know if your calculator can help that, or you ask Google. Now, good morning to you all, or good afternoon, depending on the time you made this video. Yesterday, the great and illustrious son of the Igbo extraction, by name His Excellency Dr. Obi, made a statement, I think yesterday stroke this morning, that if he will accept any coalition of which gives him or grants him the choice of his political career, to run for president only for one term and hand over to the North. Now, Obi can only hand over power if he's not doing well. If Nigeria has a working president in anybody outside Obi, anybody that is elected, if the person is a working president, who must have done well?
2 billion.
To 2 million naira, right? Now, I want to respond to this man they call Reno Omokiri. I just have to respond to you at my own calm time. Reno Omokiri, you've insulted the Igbos to an extent when some of us will respond to you. It happened during the time of Asad Dokubo, when he said that our forefathers were slaves to his own forefathers, and I laughed over it. I had to respond to him. Today, I'm responding to Reno Omokiri. Reno Omokiri, I want to remind you that the current governor of I think Ebonyi State, the current governor of Ebonyi State should be about 50 years, right? 50. The governor of Rivers State, Sir Similaye Fubara, is about 52, right? Then Reno Omokiri should be above 52 or 53. 51 years. Okay. Reno Omokiri, I've watched you talk down on Mr. Obi, his political career, and I've tried all my possible means to fathom why you decided to do these things to yourself and to your next generation by blackmailing this innocent man, all because he's an Igbo. Reno went as far as describing the Igbo Obuago as to be an European winter cap. But all along, we've never seen an European person who officially wore the Isiago cap, the Ago cap, Obuago, as their official custodian traditional attire. Reno, for going that way alone, you stepped on the toes and the grave of our ancestors, and therefore many of us who understand things you don't even know need to respond to you. Reno Omokiri, I want to remind you that around November 2023, the former CBN governor, by name Godwin Emefiele, returned about 4 trillion. It was about 4 trillion into the federation account. Now, Reno, as a big brother, as somebody many of us look up to, and as an uncle, as a father, because you're already 51, we expected you as at then to lend your voice towards the accountability of that money. The money entered back into the federation account, allegedly, as we all saw on the news and on the social space. Reno Omokiri never took his time to ask questions that where is that money and what did they do with it? Because a Deltan man was the one who returned 4 trillion, not the money we are talking about isn't 40 billion. It's not 400 million. It's not 800 billion. It's not even, I don't know how to, it's not 1 trillion. Human being in this country allegedly returned 4 trillion into the federation account. Reno Omokiri never talked about it. These are the kind of Christians we produce in this part of the world. Now, the same Emefiele, who returned about 4 trillion into the Federation account, appeared in court with Bible, seeking for the mercy of God and the intervention of the body of Christ. Reno Omokiri, I expected you then to tell the man, because no criminal can bear the identity of God, not to talk of Jesus. Reno never talked about it. Now, 4 trillion returned by one man. If 4 trillion is shared amongst 200 million Nigerians, are you listening to me? If 4 trillion is shared amongst the citizens of this country, even a child will go home with 2 million naira. I think I'm right. If you share 4 trillion to 200 million persons, each person is expected to go home with nothing less than 2 million naira. Now, Reno Omokiri, I want you to go to your village. I think he's a Delta man who claims to be a Yoruba man, right? Now, bro, big uncle, I would like you to go back to your village and check. There are people who doesn't have 2,000 naira in their pocket. There are people who does not have the hope as at today of feeding. But this Reno Omokiri once worked with President Goodluck Jonathan as an SA, right? And I kept asking, this man who is speaking about integrity as at today, what actually did Reno Omokiri commit that made the then President Goodluck Jonathan to sack him? What did Reno Omokiri actually did that made President Goodluck Jonathan to have decided decisively and sacked Reno Omokiri? You know why? Jabez opened his mouth and Jabez was crying to God. I wondered why people were talking about being rich. People were telling God to make them great. But a man sat somewhere and he was praying God to change his name because his name was a dirty effect to his life. Brothers, to my greatest surprise, Jabez insisted that God should change his name. And his name was changed. That alone, by that vision alone, made me to qualify what Reno Omokiri represents and what that name, mockery. Otherwise, if you twist it further, you get mockery there. He was in President Goodluck Jonathan's administration. He was a mockery to the same government of which fixed food on his table. I did like to ask Reno Omokiri, between President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with all due respect to the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, this is not bullying you. But I want to ask Reno Omokiri, would you prefer being a product of Obi's family, Jonathan's family, or the Tinubu's family? With a pure heart, with a genuine intentions and intent in you, with the minds of credibility and the mind of flesh, would you have preferred being a product of the Tinubu's family? Let's look away from the sizes of monies these people may have in their custodies or in their positions. Let's talk about their credibility. Would you want to get associated into the Tinubu's family? Now, Reno Omokiri, P2B is about 60-something years, right?
65.
Obi is 65 years now. Now, Reno is about 60... No, Obi should be about 63 now.
Obi is 65. Reno is 60...
No, Obi should be 63.
Reno 51.
Okay, Reno is 51. Obi should be 63. So, if you minus 51 from 53, you have 12, right? Now, in fulfillment of dream in this life, P2B has become a governor of Anambra State for 2 terms, right? And had made certain impact in the lives of human, more far advanced than whatever Reno Omokiri has ever done in his entire life. Reno, in his reign or opportunities granted to him then as an SA to Mr. President, did not tile one road, didn't fix one gutter in his own place. So what is all about development proceeding or being careful or credibility proceeding out from the mouth of this wide mouth of a man called Reno Omokiri? He preferred using the monies he grabbed out of the crooked and corrupt means only to travel around the world and contradict himself and the sole gospel of Jesus he claims he carries about. Reno Omokiri is nothing but a lost, a mistake, an opportunist who never believed that life could fix at least 2 cups of meals on his table. Anybody you see who goes as far as insulting a tribe, I mean, how does this kind of people, does education actually grant people the privilege of becoming mad of themselves? Certainly no. If the upbringing of Reno Omokiri only produced this kind of lifestyles and qualities in him, where he does not even respect elders but only respect elders through which he can easily earn or steal favor from. The same man who was marketing P2B years ago, okay, let's say there's a way to criticize Obi. You can tell Obi that at this point, I think we need to try another person because you've been tried before and you couldn't protect your vote or thereabout. Some of us won't talk to you because some of us are not even happy with him. Because you don't run for presidency on a planter of too much peace, calm approach, or you want to use the female voice to rule a nation. It doesn't work that way. A nation is spiritually established and built at the blood and the signals of a woman, but rules by the voice of man. Being too cold on people, when you know that the people you're coming to lead, they requires action. So you want to run for elections in this country, you don't run it as a preacher of love. You run it as a liberator. So on that side, many of us are not happy because all of us, every well-meaning Nigerian, it is not a thing. P2B is not the property of the Igbo extraction. P2B is a product of change and good governance to the country as of today. That is how everybody sees it. That is how all of us sees it. That is how all of us sees P2B. During the time of President Muhammadu Buhari, according to the stories we Nigerians heard about him, how disciplined he was during the military era, we decided to vote him because we wanted a change that will become stronger upon the backs of these so-called politicians. And that was why every well-meaning Nigerian as at then came out en masse and they voted for him. He won the election as at then. So President Muhammadu Buhari won because everybody gave way. We wanted a change. We wanted somebody. Nigerians didn't vote him. We wanted to vote a change. Hold on, please. Just give me 1 minute. Let's see if I can subscribe more data to this. I'm offended. So all of us voted President Muhammadu Buhari as at then, not because he's an Igbo man, not because we want to deal with tribalism or thereabout. We don't even talk about tribalisms as the Igbos we are. If we talk about tribalisms, you can imagine.
Even when Ojukwu contested, the Igbo voted for him.
Yes, when Ojukwu contested, the Igbos didn't vote for him. The Igbos didn't vote for him because we saw that there were other options of good. We have Ojukwu in particular, or vote for tribalism. I wonder the elections, the outcome of the elections would have been heavier than it was. So when you talk about tribalism, being patriotic, we are more patriotic than any other person. Sorry, the network was bad. To you, Reno Omokiri, it doesn't take criticisms to be an Igbo man. It does not take criticisms to defeat an Igbo man. It doesn't take mouth, it doesn't take ranting to defeat the Igbo man. It doesn't. As for P2B, I'm not speaking because P2B is an Igbo man. That was why many of us kept quiet in the beginning, because there was no need for that. What it takes to defeat an Igbo man is for you to be up and doing. It's just for you to be up and doing. Have records. This person is also Mazi Philip's son. Philip, now the one that sells cocoyam. The grandson of Eziokwu. His lineage will be talking about cocoyam, yam, plantain. This is how it will be going. That is being up and doing culturally and business wise. That is when we are. That's why when you see Mechanic Village, they talk about the Igbos. When you see where they are selling spare parts, they talk about the Igbos. When you go to timber shades across the nation, across the federation, anywhere they are selling timber, they talk about the Igbos. Anywhere they are selling building materials, they talk about the Igbos. It takes only but up and doing to defeat the Igbo man. It does not take ranting. It does not take hate. The more you hate them, you're going to be doing yourself. Across the nation, if there are places where you go around as Reno Omokiri to go and seek for good houses to build for yourself, the little time you have here on earth, you talk about the buildings of the Igbos in any city you visit in Nigeria. But thank God for P2B, who is not a private business of the Igbos. Because if we see P2B, if at all the Igbos decide to see P2B as their own private business, only during the last election, he would have made hell in money. Because Igbo tuara ga-ego, Igbo tuara ga-aka ikwete. Reno Omokiri. So you didn't see the need to talk about your fellow Deltan man who returned 4 trillion allegedly into the federation account. It was on the news from November 2023. 4 trillion. Now, out of that 4 trillion, the money definitely must have had winds by now and fleed away. So if one person could steal 4 trillion as the CBN governor, who knows what other people are doing? It doesn't concern you. Minus your age. At the age you are at today, Reno Omokiri agafego the age P2B no wechia governor of Anambra State. Agafego the age since
P2B was 40 something years when he was a governor.
40 something, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, he was 40 something when he was governor. Because he was the governor of Anambra State as at 12 years ago. No, William Obino stayed for 8 years. Charles Soludo,
4 years now.
He's doing 4 years now.
12 years.
So it should be about 11 years and now since he left office. Think I'm right? So Reno is 50 something now. He has never become a councillor before, but he has money. How did you manage to get those monies? You fly about snapping pictures and going out for tourism, because he's only an irresponsible man who goes about only for tourism everywhere, every place. And this guy tells you that he's an author. He writes this, writes that. I've tried to Google on Google. I've tried to search on Google to find out the series of books or the authors he claims he is. How much do you sell out from those your books? The wisdoms that should have been displayed on in those books, are they this pattern of ranting? No wonder blacks, nobody can. I've gone to different bookshops to at least get one copy of one book written by Reno Omokiri. I've not seen anyone before. And I don't know if any other person here has one. Then maybe you grant me the access to it. Let me see. He claims he trades crypto on social media. He does this and that. He trades crypto currency and thereabout. Bitcoin and many other things you say you invest your money upon. But there's a young man in Anambra here they call William, by name B-Lord. His wisdom, the wisdom of an Igbo man, did not grant him the opportunity to come ranting with you. He was able out of crypto to create a different thing also, of which toys around the nation, the cronies and the nations today. Yet Reno Omokiri is only talking. Reno Omokiri is only spending money without telling us the true and genuine source of his money. How did the monkey that should be eating banana get the opportunity to own a bakery? Anywhere you see a monkey running a bakery, which means something is wrong. Either no human exists there, and there are no true copy of responsibility around there. Today, Reno is on the mission of tarnishing the image of P2B again, and you think many of us will just keep quiet. I'm not speaking, I'm not holding brief for Mr. P2B. I'm not also speaking at in the capacity of being an Igbo man, no. I am speaking on the capacity of, to he who much is expected, to he who much is given, to much is also expected of him, because we expected that by now, the likes of Reno Omokiri should have become a governor in his state and turn the rainbow shades up and down, upside down, and life gets better for his own state people. Then before he can now talk. You've not won councillor. You've not gone for Federal House of Representatives. Let us see how you can do what you will do there. How you can better lives for people in your own little constituency. But you prefer flying abroad, going from one place to another. You see anybody on social media, if you have your argument with any Igbo man, go and sort it. There's no problem. We have no issues with that. But don't ever walk out of that particular stage and now go to the level or go as far as challenging or insulting our identity as Igbos. There will respond to you. There will. Reno, have you ever seen, can you count somebody like me or very many of us, because we live a national lifestyle? Have you ever seen people like us who comes up on social media one day or mention one big Igbo author, or a writer on social media, or a big influencer who has ever portrayed or preached hatred against your own tribe, or try to bastardize your tradition or your custom or your traditional inheritance? We don't do that. Yet you claim a Delta man, tomorrow you claim a Yoruba man. But you've never seen us go as far as, there are people across, somebody like me. When we heard the stories of what Zik of Africa and the statements Awolowo made and thereabouts, MKO Abiola, how without the Igbos he would rule the nation and all that. Did you see us go as far as insulting him on the June 12th? Didn't all of us stay back home? Did we ever rise up and say we are opposing the June 12th? But millions of people from the Igbo extraction died during the Civil War. And only 30th of May is what the people were agitating for. That on the 30th of May, the Igbos, even if you don't want to honor them there, there's no problem. But in our own sacred land, that we must honor 5 million people who lost their lives. You never preached about it. And when these people are doing this kind of honoring or maybe ceremonies on behalf of their people, mourning them and celebrating their great heroes of who paid the price for them to exist here, the next thing you see is armor tank in their communities. The next thing you see is bulldozer, machine guns and all that. Coming to, are you trying to force them out of their house? That's what I keep asking people. Or are you trying to mandate them that it is by force? As today is Monday, there is nothing stops the Igbo man from going out for their business. But for some certain persons from the Igbo extraction too must have decided that on Mondays they will sit at home. You cannot oppose it from them because they are not going to rob bank. That is the gospel truth. Somebody decided to sit in his house. Did that person actually committed any offense? Let's be real. Let us be realistic to ourselves. One man who insulted the Igbos, who said that without the Igbos he can still win. Yet, June 12th was granted to him as a democracy day. But on the days of celebrating heroes, if some of us were to be governors from the Igbo extraction, this is video I'm saying it. If some of us were to be governors from the Igbo extractions, somebody like me, I'll go and build a hero square. And those kind of flags you bargained never to see, I will make sure I put them there. It's a grant of honor for people who paid for you and I to be here. Some of these Efulefu governors you see in this part of the world, whom are busy selling off whatever they think they have today as their dignity and their pride as a people. If those people who fought that time didn't fight and defend your own father, your father wouldn't have given birth to you. You wouldn't have been here today. You wouldn't have been existing as of today. Nobody has insulted our forefathers and the person survived that process. Is a lie. Even when the Igbos does not care to respond to you, naturally things will begin to respond to you. Why am I saying all of these things? If you're having issues with Mr. P2B, go ahead. We are some of us, if we want to intervene, we will intervene or we'll interfere. We'll talk about it based on maybe he's our senior brother or maybe there is something he must have in one way or the other. He's related to one person or the other about. But crossing the boundary because of your personal hatred to P2B, you are now moving as far as touching the Obuago. Are you trying to bastardize the Igbos, or are you trying to tell people that these people are nobody? And you stepped into the Obuago. After talking about Obuago again, you still look for another thing to talk about. There are a series of things this madman has said about the Igbos. And I owe no apologies to calling you a madman, because somebody who once praised the Igbos, praised P2B to become the president of the country, and all of a sudden you turned again. And he became your worst enemy. This man is not also responding to you. See, there's a saying that says that silence is the best answer given to a fool. He has granted you the name, the fool, already. Show me one man who has this kind of credibility in your place. If I'm to talk about your place, if I'm to talk about your people, somebody will talk. A former governor will talk and get very, very bold, challenging the oppositions, challenging those who has the EFCC, challenging those in charge of the police, challenging those in charge of ICC, saying to them, if you find me guilty in any way at all, he said, please call me for questioning. And made his records open. Since this country has been existing, since this particular dispensation from 1999 to today, no governor has ever done such. No ex-governor, no former governor. Few days ago, they showed the governor's son on the internet with a video where the young man was putting on the best of Gucci jacket, worth 4.something million naira. What stops P2B's son from putting on such clothes? Does it mean that the boy does not have access to money? Does it mean that his father did not steal any money? The sacred discipline is in them, not to steal and not to spend whatever you must have stolen extravagantly. Not because they are thieves. They are not criminals. They are responsible people who knows that their mileage of genuine income could be exhausted when they spend extravagantly. Then from the other opposite, you begin to see people who has stolen what they cannot even manage just to impress people they don't like. A jacket of 4.something million naira, while there is somebody in your kindred, in your community, at the hospital right now, pleading for 400,000 naira to survive. Reno Omokiri could afford money to pay for private jet. Reno Omokiri has no supermarket. Reno Omokiri does not produce anything. Reno Omokiri is not even productive to Okpukpo. He's not a fisherman. He owns no poultry, nothing whatsoever. One day he was just appointed as an essay to the president, and it was an opportunity for him to steal contact. If he sees money, he embezzles and all that. The malfunctioning attitude of Reno Omokiri sacked him as an essay to Mr. President. And all of a sudden, from then till now, he hugged the Bible like Emefele and started flying private jet. He started going to places. He will have adulterated lions and hold their tails and make video as a content creator or as a madman. Well, if this is the vision you had then, as an SA or your kind of person shouldn't even be made an advisor to even a counselor in your community. Because what can Reno Omokiri advise a counselor to do? Is it not let us go to Peru? Is there anything expected from you again? Somebody who did, he says he did, that he has masters in law, right? I think I've heard Reno say he has masters in law.
That's what he said.
That's what he said. So you have masters in law and you don't know how to respect the dignity of certain traditional custodians of a particular people. You don't know that tradition and inheritance is what made people whom they are. You describe a people by their inheritance, their culture, and what they believe in. You don't dare touch them. If it were possible for people to remove this language they call the Igbos from their mouth, it would have been, in fact, they would have done that long ago. But let me tell you one thing. It's like an ancient language that will never go down. It's an Igbo language. Ndigbo, that is the ancient people. That's what it represents. Reno Omokiri, the next time I will respond to you, take your very good time. If you don't, the next time some of us will respond to you, we are going to insult you deeper than expected. And someone like me, I owe you no apologies to that when I do so, because you're overstepping your boundaries, and in our place, living for my studies. Next time I'll respond to you.